Dear writing a letter to someone narrative framing device. I just watched The Perks of Being a Wallflower on DVD, and it made me think. What even were the perks of being a wallflower? He spends most of the end of the movie in the psych ward. Aren't perks supposed to be good? Like in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies? I feel like these quirky ass teens wouldn't have been so melodramatic if they just had Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies. I guess it did take place in 1991 though. I'd also be depressed if I had to play 1991 video games. Nah, I'm just kidding, I only said that to piss off the nerds. Get the Freaks and Geeks heated. Ah shit, remember Freaks and Geeks? That show was awesome. Linda Cardellini was so hot in that show. Yeah, I know she played a high school junior, but she was 23 in real life, so don't even try to catch me on that shit. She's actually still pretty hot. Man, fuck NBC for canceling that show. And while we're at it, fuck ABC for canceling Clerks Animated. And you know what? Fuck Lego for making me put all those super small stickers on. What do I look like, a goddamn surgeon? Remember the I am a surgeon meme from like 2 weeks ago? That shit was funny. Love always, Ghoul City Online. Which is my name for some reason. High school movies are a lot like shoes. They all do the same basic thing, but some fit people a lot better than others. Since the dawn of time, writers and directors have been trying to accurately depict what it was like to be in high school, the awkwardness, the insanity, the pressure, prom, drugs, violence, sex, pranks, alcohol. You put like 500 plus of the stupidest, most insecure little demons in a building every day and tell them to get along, but also prove that this triangle is a triangle as if it isn't fucking obvious that it's a triangle. And there's bound to be a lot of friction. It's a period in a young person's life where they're realizing for the first time that they're like, alive, man. How strange it is to be anything at all. They gain sentience at the same time they look the most like shit and smell bad. I just remember this opening is supposed to be about high school movies. I've seen a bunch of them before. We all know Ferris Bueller or Breakfast Club. There's Class of 84 where the teacher just fucking kills the bad students, or Demolition High, which is just Die Hard in a high school that gets taken over by terrorists who want to launch a nuke off the roof or something. Movies used to be cool. Sorry, are those not mainstream enough? I meant to say Battle Royale, She's All That, Dazed and Confused, kinda. High School Musical, The Faculty, Clueless, the prequel to Clue, you get the point. People have strong feelings about this period in their lives. As a wise monkey on a typewriter once said, it was the best of times, it was the blurst of times. They want to sit down at the movies and get transported back, see their own lives reflected back on the screen, and accept what they see and therefore themselves. Know that they weren't alone. There were other gay nerds out there who loved books and Morrissey. The Perks of Being a Wallflower was a movie that made me think.
I film myself when I get assaulted for NFT crypto art.
Based on the book of the same name by Steven Chbosky and directed by a guy who happened to also be named Steven Chbosky, it follows Charlie, a high school freshman, fresh off his best friend's death, trying to survive high school in 1991. He's got no swag, no bitches, stacks minimal paper, and has a yee ass haircut. Yeah, I can see why you guys all found this movie so relatable. But all of that changes for this young high school freshman when he meets Ezra Miller. Oh, fuck. And becomes the newest member of their little band of misfits.
Welcome to the island of misfit toys.
Yeah, misfits. Bitch, that's Emma Watson. Do you know how many rats you need to staple together to be as hot as Emma Watson and be considered a misfit? It's a lot of rats. Together with his new senior friends, he will get drugged, have feelings, joke and josh, and what the fuck does he do in this movie? Basically, he wants to fuck Emma Watson, but he can't, which, again, very relatable. But along the way, he has to learn tragic lessons in PTSD, depression, anxiety, and accidentally starting a shitty relationship with the voice actress for Katara from Avatar The Last Airbender, and almost ruining your life. She was in a movie called The Duff, which is an anagram for Designated Ugly Fat Friend. I can't believe this was considered fat in 2015. I mean, fuck, if that's fat, I mean... I've seen some people who look like Resident Evil bosses on Tinder.
Learn it? Did you want to fight? Is that the deal? Whoa, bro.
Hey babe, this next one might be a little sad, but it reminded me of your eyes.
There's a lot of people who really love this movie. It's their literally me film. They see Emma Watson's record player in the bedroom, books and Smith posters, and her fairy license. And you know, to girls who used Tumblr in 2012, that must have been like when I saw dinosaurs in Jurassic Park when I was 4. Like, that shit was revolutionary. We didn't even realize that both were all CGI the entire time. Theater kids all over the world saw Ezra Miller being really fucking annoying and decided to make him the Blueprint. Right down to the part where they groom a 13-year-old in real life. But there's also a lot of people who hate this movie. They say it's, quote, that honky shit for rich kids who wish they didn't have no carpeted staircase so they could actually die jumping down that bitch. I don't even know what the fuck that means. Do people kill themselves by jumping down an entire staircase? Would you even die from jumping down an entire staircase? I guess it depends.
Hey, you guys think I can jump all the way down these stairs and land on my side?
You know, the point is, a lot of people don't have a lot of sympathy for these characters.
You can't just sit there and put everybody's lives ahead.
I mean, look at this fucking house. There's there's like 5 garage doors there. And I'm supposed to be like, ooh, these tragic kids. You have 5 garage doors. Your garage is bigger than my apartment. Anyway, it's divisive. Personally, I found the movie relatable to a degree. It made me extremely uncomfortable, and I, for some reason, looked back on Cannibal Holocaust as an easier watch the first time around, but after watching Perky Wallflowers for a second time, it didn't quite give me cringe PTSD to the 3 years I spent hanging out with my high school's theater department, so that made it more enjoyable than watching a real-life monkey take a machete to the skull. I think my true feelings on this movie rest with the crossroads of cringe and admiration. On a surface viewing, the movie is kinda just your average coming-of-age story. A shy, troubled teen is brought out of his shell by the cooler, older seniors and learns what it means to be alive, and that ultimately high school isn't going to matter that much in the long run. You're not really going to remember one shred of information you learn in the classroom. You're going to remember everything else, the parties, the nights you spent with your friends driving around and goofing off, the time you slid an entire fudge pop under your friend's bedroom door and fucked up their carpet, all the times you cut class to get lunch with your other friends and told your teacher you lost your shoe, and you did that like 14 times until she gave up even being mad or writing you up because you were still somehow one of the best students in the class. Sure, literally every other country on the planet is destroying the United States in education, and we're so goddamn stupid that it's rapidly becoming a huge problem for the entire planet, but the important thing is, you made memories. Semicolon close parentheses. Speaking of memories, I forgot where I was going with this. I think when I look back on high school, the present recontextualizes a lot of it. You find out that the guy you would hang out with sometimes liked to DM freshman girls videos of himself drinking with a razor blade and threatening to fucking do it for real this time if they don't send nudes, and you're just like, damn. We used to 1v1 on Halo 3 split screen, that's fucking crazy, that's what he does in his spare time? I didn't know he was evil incarnate. I think Perks of Being a Wall Weapon is a movie that hyper-romanticizes high school and growing up. There's so much questionable to bad stuff happening in it, but it still ends on this optimistic message about how these are the most magical and important days of our lives. Someday we'll grow up and be somebody's parents, and these will all just be stories and old dusty photographs to remind us of the way we were. And I actually kind of like that about the movie. I think it's pretty accurate in that regard. We look back on the past with rose-colored glasses and only remember the best parts while the mundane, boring, bad stuff falls away. You kind of forget how much it actually sucked ass and people were always mad at each other and the pettiest shit was treated like the end of the world. We were all insecure and we looked like shit and we were scared and angry and we didn't know why. But the only things I have from that time is pictures of us where we're happy, we're posing for Polaroids, laughing backstage, and looking like we're having the time of our lives. I don't know what else was happening when this picture was taken. I don't know how I felt about this, so I have no choice but to assume it was a special time, to idolize it. And I think this movie pisses off so many people, and initially myself too, because it reopens the floodgates. You remember hanging out with people like this. You remember people being pissed off at you like this. You think of the girls who had no idea that their boyfriends were cheating on them when they took their prom photos. You think of popular kids who didn't know that they wouldn't survive summer vacation. I knew somebody who was exactly like almost anybody in this movie. I never related to any one character to a big extent, but it was all so familiar and felt way too real to be comfortable. You either appreciate that, or it makes you just as mad as you were when you were still there. Dear narrative framing device, I don't know if I'll have time to write you anymore. I might be too busy playing that new Zelda. So if this does end up being the last letter, I just want you to know that this game is pretty sick. The fact that this runs on a Switch at all is kinda fucking insane. Imagine what Nintendo could do with a console as powerful as, like, I don't know, the Xbox 360. There are people who will say it was a bad idea to talk about a movie I had extremely little to say about. That after gaining over 1,000 subscribers in the span of 2 weeks from the initial D-Iceberg, it probably would have been better to come back with a video about a car movie, especially since the Tokyo Drift remake won the poll that I've already ignored twice. But I did it. This is happening, and you're watching the video on that couch or that chair, and you hear that song from the end of the movie from the scene that I'm loosely parodying, and you know that you're alive. And in this moment, we are in. Hey, this wasn't about Initial D at all! Let's get out of here, boys! Wait, no, the fuck!
High school sucks. High school sucks. High school sucks. Everybody called me a